the comic book character who is perhaps most popular, the most recognized comic book character, even to those who are not actually into comic books. And that would have to be Superman. Superman is clearly a sun god. It's a sun god myth. He gets his power from the sun. And in fact, as things move forward and this mythos around Superman moves forward, some people might be surprised that the patron deity on Krypton, the place where Superman comes from, his name is Ra. Clearly they're referencing Ra or Re, the Kemetic deity.
When you look at a lot of white superheroes, a lot of them are based on the myth of the Norse god or the Aryan god or the white supremacist deities like Superman. A lot of that came about during the eugenics movement. The He-Man character, when you look at the old He-Man cartoons, you'll see he has a symbol that is associated with the Aryan white supremacist doctrine.
Even on Superman's chest, it was an actual pyramid turned upside down with a snake in the form or shape of an S. See, they switched that whole thing around. It's like, wait a minute, his name was Kal-El. That's a Hebrew name. He gets power from the sun, which requires melanin. That means you have to be black.
The story of Pinocchio, it took a turn around the turn of the century, around 1900. This was after the Italians had a war with King Menelik of Ethiopia, and they lost against these African people. So the Italian people wanted to get literary revenge. So what they did with the Pinocchio story, they created a comic book where Pinocchio went to Africa. He became the leader of the Africans. They showed the Africans in very negative and stereotypical ways with the bones in their noses. So Pinocchio was over here ruling people in Africa. Pinocchio ended up painting himself black, then he got enslaved, and then he washed the paint off, and then he swam back to Italy. So these racist type of narratives were actually taught in school.
The first place that this woman warrior is referred to as Amazon is not in the Caribbean, not in South America, but in Dahomey by the French, who have invaded there and get their behind kicked by an army of women. And it wasn't that these women were big, extraordinary women. No, they were just as beautiful and exotic as any African women, but they were trained to fight and defend their nation state, defend their culture, and defend their integrity.
The Wonder Woman myth was based on the Amazonian women of Dahomey. The writer of Wonder Woman, William Marston, he was the creator of it. So he got the myth from the Amazon women of Dahomey. These women were the ones who beat the French. When the French went to Africa, these Amazon women beat the brakes off the French. The French had to go back to France and say, hey, look, we got beat by these women. And in order to justify it, they say, yeah, we got beat, but these women were 10 feet tall. They were huge. So the myth of the giant Amazon woman was born out of that. They moved that myth over to Greece, saying that the women